In this episode of Sector Studios, we begin adding our final details to our one-point perspective urban landscape drawing. The first detail I'm about to add is a very basic one. I'm going to be adding some segments to our sidewalk. To do this, we're going to be applying some lines running along the sidewalk that run horizontally. As we get closer and closer to the horizon line, these lines should start to come closer and closer together and eventually disappear. Now I'm going to draw a crosswalk. To do this, I'm going to connect two parallel lines that are running horizontally with lines running to the vanishing point. Now I can erase the space in between each one to leave behind the rectangular shapes connecting to the vanishing points that make up the crosswalk. Throughout my city, I'm going to be adding different details that help make a city look lived in. Details such as my crosswalk, this drain I'm adding, things like cars and buses, people, trees, trash cans, street lamps, and street lights. Get creative here to make your city look interesting and show your view of the world. Throughout my drawing, I'm going to be including some details that help to show the juxtaposition created by income inequality. On one side, you can see I'm creating a rooftop pool for a more affluent or wealthy family or group. And on the other side, there's going to be some other images representing poverty and homelessness. Adding people to your urban landscape drawing is important in order to make the city look lived in and not empty and blank. There's a few strategies you can do this. The first person I added to my street, I used a technique called the silhouette. So basically it's like a thick stick figure showing the shadow or silhouette of a figure in the drawing. For the second figure, I'm using a basic block person. Ultimately, this is a figure created by the basic shapes that make up the human body, including a series of ovals to make up the head, the torso, the arms, and the legs. Other details can be applied to make it look more interesting. For my next person, I'm going to try to capture some motion. I'm going to use the basic block technique again, but this time I'm going to try to mimic the motions that the body makes or the gestures as it runs. Because I live in Southern California, and in LA we have lots of police helicopters circling all the time, I'm going to use a series of shapes to build a helicopter. Creating cars can seem like an overwhelming task, but in reality, they're basically just a bunch of stacked rectangles. If we create rectangles for the front end of the car and connect them to the vanishing point to create the sides, we can piece together an automobile. For the windshield, we're going to create a second rectangle, connect that to the vanishing point to connect the roof and the windows, and then finish it off with the last bit of details, including the wheels. And in this case, it's going to be a police car, so I'm going to also include details to make it look like it. Lastly, I'm going to add some texture in the foreground by dotting my pencil or stippling my pencil to create a rough texture for the street. I'll add a few pieces of litter and maybe a few taggings on the wall to complete my details. Thank you for watching Stecker Studios. Please like and subscribe.